Welcome to Women Awakening. I'm Cynthia James, and this network is about changing lives one woman at a time. We are changing the world one woman at a time. We're changing lives one woman at a time. And my goal is to introduce you to fabulous women all over the world who are awakening, finding their way, creating their businesses, changing their lives, and bringing their voices to the planet. And so I'm grateful that I get to introduce you to people that I love and that I admire. And so today I want to talk to you about Genevieve Zizzo. She is an osteopath from Canada, and she was being called to be a healer from a young age, coming from a family deeply rooted in traditional medical professions. You know, she devoted her academic life to better understanding the human body with a special interest in anatomy. She studied at the University of Waterloo in Ontario, Canada, and she is the founder, CEO, and extraordinary leader of a multidisciplinary clinic, the Full Circle Health Network. So, Genevieve, welcome. I am so happy that you are here.
I am so excited and so happy that you have me on here, Cynthia. Thank you so much.
So Genevieve, I know because Genevieve is one of the ladies in the AW program, the Academy of Women Emerging, and we met at our women's conference last year. And first of all, can you tell people what is an osteopath and what does that mean in your country and for what you do?
Yeah, totally. So I am actually a manual osteopathic practitioner. That's an important distinction here because I'm not a physician. I know in the States, osteopaths are physicians. So I'm not a physician here. I'm just someone who specializes in the manual components of osteopathy. So osteopathy is a complete medicine in that it has a whole host of manual principles to apply to the human body, to use to help bring health and wellness back to an individual. It's a really amazing field. It's a hands-on therapy similar to massage, similar to chiropractic, similar to physiotherapy, but it is also very much its own distinct profession in that it considers the whole body and the whole person as we are treating them. Not that those other professions don't, but the systems of osteopathy really consider the whole individual and needing the whole body to work dynamically together and to function as a unit in order for optimal health and healing.
Wow, well, that's incredible. And so I'm interested. I mean, it says in your bio that you were interested in the human body from a very young age, and your parents were in a medical profession, but what called you when you got out of school to start your own business? Because that's a big deal.
Yeah, there's a couple of different layers to this. From a young age, there was definitely something within me that was driven to be a healer. I have a very distinct memory of being at my friend's place when I was 5 or 6 years old, playing at their house on a jungle gym in their basement, and their parents were both doctors too, and we were playing doctor. And I remember having them lay down and moving their arms around and saying, "Okay, you're healed." And I believed that would heal them. At 5 years old, that's what I thought a doctor did. I grew up later to realize that no, that's not at all what usually happens in common medical practice. And then when I was in university, in my third year of university, I was thinking that I was going to go to medical school as well. And there was just a couple of chance experiences where I met an osteopathic practitioner, and I myself personally needed one after I was hit by a car while riding my bike to school, and nothing had been able to help me. And I found osteopathy through looking for solutions for my own pain. And it was the only thing that made a difference for me, so profoundly that to this day, like I am pain-free 99% of the time, and I'm so fortunate and so grateful for that. So, and looking back at that 5-year-old and what she was doing, thinking would bring health to an individual, that actually ended up being like the cardinal arm movement that we use in osteopathy. So the motions that I was using, the things that I was doing at that age, thinking that would heal people, that actually ended up turning into my reality, because that's exactly what osteopathy is. And it was the foundational stuff we learned in our first year of osteopathy, which is pretty cool. And from there, I was really inspired by one of my osteopathic instructors in school. He really encouraged me to open my own clinic. He said to me one day, he's like, you know, Jen, you could work for someone else or you could work for yourself. And I was 24 at the time. And I was like, yeah, I can do that. And then my boyfriend and I were moving to a new city, and he had just gotten into law school. And I was like, oh, I guess now's a good time. And I was still in osteopathic college. But I was like, you know, that's fine. I'll just rent a space. And I named it Full Circle Health Network from the beginning, because I knew I wanted to work with a number of different healthcare practitioners. I really had this vision for a holistic practice that would consider all aspects of the person, the physical, the mental, the spiritual, and that was the very beginning. That was the foundation of Full Circle back 10 years ago. 10 years since I opened.
Well, that's incredible. And ladies, I want you to hear something that she said. At 5 years old, she was doing things in the physical world that ended up becoming what she did in her profession, because it came with her. And oftentimes I think that we forget that the callings that we have as children are actually the callings for our life. And I love that. I want you to share in this moment, though, you know, people think sometimes you have this grand idea, you're going to create this business, you're going to be of high service, and it's just going to be this piece of cake. Has that been your
Well, you know, Cynthia, if it was a piece of cake, we never would have met. Yeah, I mean, certainly owning a business has challenged me in so many ways. I have to say, I feel so fortunate in my role of working with people as an osteopathic practitioner. I absolutely love working with my patients and watching and supporting them through their own health journeys. And that has come very easily to me. But running a business is a whole different story. It has really challenged me to emerge as a leader. And I think one of the biggest challenges, especially in health and wellness, or anyone who's very, you know, who's more of an empath, I would definitely call myself an empath for sure, is stepping into that leadership role. Because when you're used to being a fixer, and that is really one of the, again, something that I really thrived on. That's why I really love osteopathy, is because I can help people, I can support them, and I can see changes. But you're always in that fix it mode. And when you run a business, you know, there's certainly a certain amount of fixing it to do, but in a different way, in a different setting, not in the same kind of nurturing way that you might meet someone with their health. And I've definitely infused that nurturing into my leadership. But certainly business does bring about a number of challenges in terms of how do you manage people? How do you recruit people? How do you put systems in place to support those around you to do what you need them to do? So those are some of the challenges that certainly come with business ownership that I'm on, you know, I'm on the road to learning how to always improve myself in all of those various areas. So it's definitely created a lot of opportunity for creative outlet for me as well, to get to learn about how to be a better leader, and in different ways that I can apply all these skills. I don't always need to be the one supporting health and wellness. I can be supporting that higher level of personal wellness and optimization by watching people flourish in their careers and through their career goals, by providing an environment that's supportive of that. And that is really powerful to be a part of, and is enjoyable.
Yeah. Well, and I know, I mean, I've been an entrepreneur for a number of years, and there is a learning curve. And what I love about you and some of the ladies in awe and some of the other people that I've met, it's like we've decided to grow. We've decided to invest in ourselves. We've decided to reach out and get support. And that's what I want to say to anybody listening is, like, if you want to start a business or you're in a business, and you feel like you're stuck, or you feel like you're up against a wall, there are people and places and resources that can support you to move to a whole nother level. So I now want to talk to you about being a woman, because you're running this business, you're married.
Yep.
And we're all on a journey, an inward journey. And so I want to know, what's been your biggest challenge as a woman, and finding the balance in caring for yourself, caring for your loved ones, and being in business for yourself?
That's an excellent question. I think one of the biggest challenges that I felt as a woman is really expectations and boundaries, expectations of who I should be as a business owner, who I should be as a healthcare practitioner, who I should be as a wife. Who I should look like, who I should talk like, who I should model. All of these stories are constantly coming at us all day, every day, from various sources, from people in our lives, from the families we grew up in, from the media, from everywhere. There's all these expectations put upon us. And I will definitely say that I'm somebody who really likes to do a really good job and have things be perfect. And that's really hard to do in all of those various areas. And these expectations that we kind of hold in our head, as I've evolved in my osteopathic career, I've realized that, in order for me to be the best osteopathic practitioner that I can be, it requires that I have a clean house, and it requires that I have, enjoyable dinners with my husband, and we have a good time, and we go on vacation, because that's allowing me to bring a more present and a more full individual into my practice and through my leadership. Because when those other areas are in chaos, it's difficult for anyone to function. So definitely having support, definitely having a strong network of women to learn from and get guidance from, because this stuff isn't innate. We don't all know how to navigate all of these expectations that we have subconsciously implanted onto and into ourselves. So I would say that, expectations and boundaries are a tricky one too. You always want to do your best and make everyone else feel really good, especially as an empath and a healer. It's a challenge to want to solve everybody else's problems, but in the work that I've done, in the work that or in the lessons that I have learned over my career and in my experience, there's only so much of that you can do. You can't actually change the outcome for other people. You can support them. And that is really the most important thing, is you are supporting other people. And then you also have to go ahead and support yourself, because no one else is going to do that for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I found for me, the balance, the self-care part was big. The balance of knowing how to treat people, how I wanted people to treat me, how I wanted interactions to be, what kind of clarity we wanted to have, and so I want to talk to you about, this is an interesting time on the planet. There's a lot going on, and I actually believe that this is a time for women's voice, for women's energy to be the feminine to rise. What do you think women are struggling with the most?
Oh, I think probably similar things as me, the expectations and the boundaries. We have such high expectations of ourselves, and we feel like we need to tick all these boxes, but what is it all for? If you're not happy, if you are not fulfilled, if you are not living your truth, if you are not living the life that you are meant to be living here, and what even is that? And the only place that you're going to get that information from is from yourself. And that's a really hard place to get to sometimes when we aren't taught that, or a lot of us aren't taught that, to go inwards, to seek what we really want and truly want. I think women in general are nurturing by nature and used to giving, used to providing for others. And it can be overwhelming in terms of trying to figure out, okay, well, how do I provide for myself? Because most of us have propped ourselves up off the accolades of other people and other people telling us we're doing a good job, and other people, relying on us, whether it be, your children are doing well because they're eating, because you've provided them food, or, entertainment, or your partner's happy with you. And I think so many women, most of us, I'm sure, at least this is my reality, is, we've propped ourselves up with these societal markers of how well we're doing in our relationships, in our roles. But I think oftentimes we get lost in terms of like, what is the role of us? Like, what is our purpose? Our purpose isn't to be here and serve everybody else on the planet, with completely ignoring ourselves, because like those two are incongruent. They don't work. You have to come from a place of being grounded, of being centered. And you don't need to be perfectly put together. I think sometimes, I fall into that trap too, thinking that, even the women that are my mentors in my life, they live this magical life where they meditate 3 hours a day, and, they only drink wheatgrass water or whatever it might be. And you're like, oh, if only I could get to that. But that's not me. That's not my truth. That's not necessarily what I need to function, what I need to be the best osteopathic practitioner, the best wife, the best friend I can be. I might need something very different, and no one has it together perfectly. And we all adhere to this thought of this perfection, right? So, that's what I would say is some of our biggest challenges, is those expectations we really put upon ourselves, those boundaries we cross by always going above and beyond and forcing ourselves to a certain extent to support others while ignoring our own needs and what we need.
Yeah, totally. Absolutely. So I want you to tell people how to find you. If people want to know, if they're in Canada and they want to find you, or if they want to find you online, because I know you have products and things, how do they find you?
Absolutely. So my clinic is named Full Circle Health Network. So our website is www.fchn.ca. .ca for all of my American listeners here. So FCHN is in Full Circle Health Network. So that is our clinic website. I also have a consulting practice that I offer to other female entrepreneurs, specifically in the health and wellness industry, those who have independent practices that are looking to grow in a heart-centered way, and to grow authentically. It's called Living Mint. So my consulting practice website is www.livingmint.ca. And you can read up a little bit about more of my consulting services and and how I work with other women to help empower them in finding their own voice and their own place in the health and wellness world, and running successful practices that both honor their needs as a practitioner, as well as the needs of their patients to receive outstanding care and outcomes.
Awesome. Awesome. So I asked the same last question of, of every person. What do you want women to know about their awakening?
I absolutely love this question because the answer really, what the answer for me is, it's founded in osteopathy. And the major belief in osteopathy is the body has everything that it needs already. And I think that we all have exactly what we need within us. In the health and wellness world, I mean, the human body has only two options. And when it's either has too much of something or too little of something. Every disease out there is based off of too much and too little. And it's finding that balance that will regulate it. And so you have a whole natural pharmacy available to you in your body. Certainly we can augment those with either supplements or medications, or there are certain things we can do to augment it. So the physical body has everything it needs, but also the spiritual body does as well. The spiritual, emotional side of us. We have everything that we need. Certainly, I think that getting help, working with people who have walked this path before, you do not need to reinvent the wheel. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how many gurus you have and how many mentors you have, they're going to help support you. And it's all about that support. But ultimately, you have everything that you need within you right now. And it's there, and your job is to uncover it. And you need to make the space to make sure you can uncover it. And whatever way that might be, however that might unfold for you, it's all there. Believe me, it's in there. You don't even know how much is in there.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for bringing your healing energy to the planet and for creating a space for people. I'm so grateful to know you and to introduce you to my audience.
Well, thank you. I'm so grateful for you and for all of the work that I've had the good fortune of doing with you. And yeah, thank you for having such a strong voice for women, and coming from such a place of empowerment. I think it's incredible. Thank you.
Thank you. And ladies, listen, come back often. We're posting new content every week or every other week. You're going to meet extraordinary women. You know, subscribe. You know, we're on YouTube, or you can go to Spotify, or where you can get podcasts. Be with us. We would love for you to be there. I'd love for you to meet these women. Every week I'm inspired by women who are making big changes in their lives. And so I'm grateful that you're here. I want you to know you're magnificent, you're powerful, that there's only one of you here on this planet, and therefore that makes you essential. I'll see you next time. Know that you're loved, and I'm excited to be in your world.